The Holiday Shift Worker. A Midnight Cat Café story. December 25th, 11 p.m. The pharmacy had finally closed. It was one of those 24-hour places near the hospital, the kind that stayed open through holidays and snowstorms and every other time a regular pharmacy would have its gates down. But even the all-night shop closed early on Christmas, a 10 p.m. shutdown instead of the usual around-the-clock operation. Small mercy. Darnell's feet ached from standing since noon. His work polo was still on under his jacket. He'd been too tired to change before leaving, just wanted to be somewhere that wasn't fluorescent-lit and beeping with register sounds. Christmas Day. He'd spent it filling prescriptions while the rest of the world gathered around trees and tables. A steady stream of people, more than he'd expected. Folks who needed things and had nowhere else to go. He'd helped every one of them. Cough syrup for someone's grandmother who'd taken a turn. Insulin for a man who'd flown in for the holiday without enough supplies. Children's medicine for a fever that spiked after Christmas Eve dinner. Not glamorous work, but needed. The cafe appeared on a corner that should have been closed, but wasn't. A small sign in the window read, "Open late. Always." He pushed through the door. The warmth hit him first. After 10 hours of recycled pharmacy air, this felt like stepping into something alive. Cinnamon, vanilla, something deeper and sweeter underneath. String lights traced the walls in soft loops. The radiator clicked a rhythm that sounded almost like welcome. The place was nearly empty. One person dozing in a corner chair, a book open on their lap. One person reading by a lamp that cast a warm circle around them. The quiet felt like a gift after the beeping registers and the holiday music that had played on loop since his shift started. The woman behind the counter had kind eyes and silver-streaked hair. Long shift. 10 hours. Christmas Day. Her face held no pity, just understanding. "I have warm milk with cinnamon and honey, the kind of thing that says you're done now, you can rest. Please." He found a chair near the back. Deep and worn, the velvet soft from years of holding tired people. He sank into it and felt his spine begin to release, vertebra by vertebra, from the position it had held all day. His lower back had that particular ache that came from standing on hard floors too long. His shoulders had crept up toward his ears somewhere around hour 6 and never come back down. The milk arrived, warm and sweet. He wrapped both hands around the cup and just held it for a moment, letting the heat soak into his fingers. They were always cold by the end of a shift, no matter how warm the store was. Something about the fluorescent lights, maybe. Something about the recycled air. The orange cat appeared almost immediately. Large and unhurried. Thick fur, the color of marmalade. White paws that looked like they'd been dipped in cream. He stretched beside Darnell's chair, a long, luxurious stretch that seemed to say, "There's no rush. There never was. There never will be." Then he jumped onto Darnell's lap. weight settled, solid and warm, heavier than expected, but in the best way, the kind of weight that says, you don't need to go anywhere right now. You don't need to do anything. Just be here. The cat began to purr, deep and resonant, a sound Darnell felt more than heard, vibrating through his tired legs and into his chest, like a motor running, but softer, more alive. Then the kneading started. Press, release. Press, release. Slow, rhythmic, patient. "That's Biscuit," Clara said, setting down a small cookie beside his milk. "He finds the people who need to stop moving." Darnell sat with Biscuit's weight on his lap. The milk warmed him from the inside. The purr moved through him like something being loosened, untied. He breathed deeper than he had all day. The air here smelled nothing like antiseptic, nothing like the plastic and cardboard scent of prescription bottles. Press, release. Press, release. "Busy day," he said quietly. Biscuit's ear rotated toward his voice, but the rhythm didn't stop. "More people than I expected. You don't think about it, right? Who needs a pharmacy on Christmas? But then they show up, one after another, and you realize holidays don't stop people from getting sick, don't stop diabetics from needing insulin, don't stop kids from running fevers." He took a sip of milk, sweet and warm and simple. Most of them apologized. "Sorry you have to work today. Sorry to bother you on Christmas," like they were the problem. He shook his head slightly. "They weren't the problem. They needed help. That's what I was there for." The cat's purr deepened. Press. Release. "My family did their thing without me. They saved me a plate. My mum always does. Turkey, stuffing, that sweet potato casserole I've loved since I was 8. We're doing a second Christmas on my next day off. Sunday, probably. It'll be good." He ran his hand along Biscuit's back. The fur was dense and soft, impossibly soothing to touch. "It's just, sometimes I wonder if my holiday counts when it happens at a different time than everyone else's." The cafe held its quiet. No Christmas music playing, no decorations demanding attention, just the tick of the radiator, the soft sound of breathing, the steady rhythm of Biscuit's pause. Press, release. Press, release. Darnell's shoulders dropped. He hadn't realized he'd been holding them up until they released. The tension had become so familiar he'd stopped noticing it. "You don't know it's Christmas, do you?" Biscuit opened his eyes, amber and warm, completely unbothered. "This is just another night for you. Warm lap, quiet room, human who needs company." Darnell scratched behind the cat's ears, and Biscuit tilted his head to give him better access. "You don't know it's supposed to be special. You don't know everyone else is somewhere else, doing the thing you're supposed to do on this day." The purr continued its steady vibration. "Maybe that's the secret. Maybe you've figured out something the rest of us haven't." Biscuit's eyes drifted closed again. Complete contentment. Complete presence. Maybe a holiday isn't a date on the calendar. Maybe it's just a moment where you feel held, where someone or something makes you feel like you matter. Biscuit pressed his head against Darnell's hand. Right now, in this cafe with you on my lap and warm milk in my hands, this is my Christmas. It's 11 p.m. and it's a weird little celebration, but it's mine. Clara appeared after a while with a second cup. This one's on the house, for the people who keep things running while the rest of us rest. You're open at 11 p.m. on Christmas. You're one of those people too. She smiled. Someone has to keep the lights on for the night wanderers, same as someone has to fill the prescriptions. Darnell nodded. Understood. How long have you been doing this, the late night thing? Long enough to know that the people who come in at 11 p.m. are usually the ones who need it most. She wiped down the counter, though it was already clean. The daylight hours are full of people who have places to be. The late hours belong to the ones who are looking for something, even if they don't know what. Biscuit had begun to doze, his purr softening to a gentle rumble. Complete trust. Complete relaxation. He'd done his job, found the tired person, provided the warmth, and now he was resting from his work. Thank you, Darnell said, for being open. Thank you for coming in. It gets quiet here on holidays. Nice to have company. The drive home was peaceful. The streets were empty in that particular way they only get on Christmas night. Everyone home, everyone settled, the whole city holding its breath between the day that was and the day that would be. A few houses still had their lights on. One had a tree visible through the front window, the colored glow spilling out onto the snow. Someone was still awake in there, maybe a parent assembling a last-minute gift, maybe a kid too excited to sleep, maybe just someone who liked the quiet of late-night Christmas. Darnell pulled into his driveway. The house was dark. His roommates had gone to their families, wouldn't be back until the weekend. He didn't feel sorry for himself. He felt tired, yes, bone-deep tired from 10 hours on his feet, but also something like satisfied. He'd been useful today. He'd been needed. The grandmother got her cough syrup. The diabetic got his insulin. The feverish kid got relief. Not everyone could say that about their Christmas. The saved plate was in the fridge where his mother had left it. Turkey, stuffing, the sweet potato casserole with the marshmallows on top, green beans cooked the way only she made them, with the bacon and the onions, a dinner roll wrapped separately so it wouldn't get soggy. He put the plate in the microwave and waited. The kitchen hummed. The clock on the stove said 11:55 p.m. Christmas dinner at nearly midnight, alone in his quiet kitchen. It should have felt sad. Maybe once it would have. But tonight, it just felt like his own version of the holiday, his own way of celebrating. The microwave beeped. He took the plate to the table, sat down. slowly. The food was good. His mother always made it the same way, year after year. The taste was familiar, and familiar was its own kind of gift. A constant in a world that kept changing, a thing he could count on. After he washed the plate, put it in the drying rack, turned off the kitchen light. His bedroom was cool and dark. The sheets were soft. He climbed in and felt his whole body sink into the mattress, every muscle letting go all at once. The ceiling above him was just visible in the dark, the faint glow of a streetlight coming through the curtains. Tomorrow, or later today technically, he'd call his mum, tell her about the shift, the grandmother, the insulin guy, the kid with the fever. She'd say she was proud of him, and he'd feel it, really feel it. But for now, he just rested. His holiday had happened. It just happened on its own schedule, in a fluorescent-lit pharmacy, and a warm late-night cafe, and a quiet kitchen at midnight. And that wasn't lesser. That was just different. Different and real. And his. His own kind of Christmas. His own.